Howdy, this is Gabi, and welcome to week 3 of our 2020 Mystery Weave Along. And what you see here is what we will be doing this week. I call this week is the week of long things, and let me just quickly show you what I mean with this. We will this week just make one strip, a very long strip that has 6 weavies, 6 squares or 6 hexagons all in one piece, in one row. So we go very long this week. There are no new techniques this week, which will allow you to concentrate on weaving and on joining. But before we get talk a little bit more about that, let's do a review of last week. Week number 2 put together the all 4 colors, or now we have used all 4 colors at least once, and it was a total delight to see some of the beautiful color plays that we have. Let me just zoom in a little bit on this. For example, here we have Allie, and you can see here those beautiful spring color impressions. And I'm just showing a few more examples very quickly here. Here we have Jeff, and Jeff joined us just this week, and he chose these beautiful, very refreshing colors. Here's Paula's example, and Paula is doing squares and hexagons, and she also, I chose to show you this because she remembered to start collecting scraps, and please continue to do so. The next one I would like to show you today is Lori, and Lori doesn't have just beautiful colors. She's also using a loom and does the bias weaving. I'm not sure if you can see this very well here. It's a little bit dark, probably here on the yellow ones. And I just love the color effects together with the bias weaving. We have like 2 or 3 people now that do the bias weave. And here we have Wendy. I really enjoyed Wendy's display, where you can really see all the colors that she's using and how they blend in with each other. Again, it was a real delight to see all of them. By the way, by now we have over 70 people attending this weave along. I think it's just mind-bogglingly wonderful. So keep up the great work. One thing I've noticed here was Wendy, and this was very popular, a lot of people liked it, is Wendy's treatment for the optional 2020. Let me see if I can show you this. 2020 square. What she did here is she used 2 colors to weave this little plate. I'm sorry, I lost that. So this little plate. And I remember that I had seen this. I'm just showing you this here in case you're curious how this is done. You can find the instructions on the Schacht website if you go to the Schacht projects. And I think this is a posting from 2013, I think. And just a very brief description. I quote, "We created a plate by winding halfway across the loom with one color, changing to the next. This was repeated for the 2nd and 3rd layers and in the weaving as well." And that's all there is to it. And I just want to show you one thing. What can you do with it? Of course, you can do all kinds of plates with it. But one project that always is on my mind is a project from Deb, from our group actually, and this is let me just zoom out a little bit here. This is the little looms from 2017. And Deborah used this method that you just see here to make this. I hope it shows well. Let me put this down. To make this beautiful rug, little rug. You can see here where she has this plate effect, and then she finishes one side this color and the other side this color. I think that's a beautiful application of exactly that pattern. Just when I saw Wendy do this for her 2020 weavie, I thought this is worth mentioning. All right, topic 2020 weavie. It definitely exceeded any expectations that I had. With all the weaves, I can't show them all here. They are all on our Pinterest board. So if you want to see more color expressions and all the 2020 implementations, please go to our Pinterest to week 2, and you see them all. So here is Wendy's, but then here we have Jeff, who really went all out with a beautiful variegated yarn and used almost all his square. And then here we have Denise. I really like the little border that Denise added here, and she just went diagonal with the numbers. And then take a look here at Annette's. Just the colors, that black on that bright pink, isn't that amazing? And then Carolyn, almost out of space, but when I asked her, this was like, okay, you need a bigger one, and then she said, well, I would run out of space on that one too. So look at all the different implementations that she did here. And then the MMXX, the Latin, is also used here by Jeff. Very, very simple, but very expressive. And I really liked Catherine's implementation here. She uses mini braids with hearts and stars, and I thought this is like, on the one hand it's easy to do, but to come up with the idea, I think it's just absolutely brilliant. All right. Last not least, this morning actually, Lynn sent me her week 2 weavies, and she decided to make the 2020 with a little heart and a rainbow, because she told me that she would like to remember this weave along for the time when we did it, and which of course is the COVID-19 time, and as a thank you to all the people who are helping and doing their best to keep us safe and to help those who fell ill. And so this is the heart for the thank you and the rainbow of hope. Thank you very much for thinking in these terms, Lynn. All right, to the lighter side of this week, I would like to share with you or introduce, let me see, yeah, I think this will do. Joyce posted this picture earlier this week with her helpers, Inky and Pumpkin. And Inky is very desperate to find some, or desperately waiting for some yarn. But I'm just very glad for the supervision that Joyce has. And at this point, I just want to say, I'm just so grateful for all the people who have pets. And I know that there are many people that have great supervision and from their pets, which reminds me 2 years ago when we did the weave and stitch along, in the week when we did the cross stitch, the project was a jay, so I talked a lot about jays during that video, and later on Susan told me that her dog, whose name is JJ, really loved that video quite a bit. So JJ, here's a very special greeting to you, and you watch over Susan when she is doing her weaving during this weave along, all right? With an extra with an extra greeting to JJ and Hubcap and Cooper and all the other dogs and cats who are just excellent helpers. All right, let's take a look at this week's deliverables. As I said, this week is the week of long things. So here's the rows of hexagons. I want you to sew all 6 hexagons of the week together. And here is the week for squares, starting with the background, all of them in one long row. And I told you this is a good opportunity just to practice a little bit more joining, and also just to make very, very long things. On the joining, we had a good post today where which was about how do you figure out the right side. Last week when I said just take the when you sew the squares together, just take them the way they come off the loom and sew them together. Let me just, this is actually quite good. So today came up the question, well, how do I figure that out, or how do I remember that, because I'm not sure if I flip them like this or not. And so there were just some really good suggestions today that I would quickly like to share with you. One is you can mark the starting thread right when it's still on the loom with a little piece of thread or scrap, so that you know where it is. And then you can also, and I've seen several people use this actually, mark the right side with a safety pin or an extra piece of thread. Okay, so, and whether you call it right or wrong is really secondary. The most important thing is that they are all the same when you work, and that should actually help. So thank you very much for all those who made good suggestion and helped out. Just for the records with the hexagons, it's a little bit easier. Number one, they don't have the scallop, so you don't have the that you need the direction. And when you get it off the loom, there's always the starting thread pointing up and the ending thread pointing to the right. So it's actually pretty easy. And even if you flip it around, it still looks the same because the borders are pretty much the same. All right, let's take a quick look at our worksheet here. So we did the review, frequently asked questions. Yeah, I added a link to the document to the frequently asked questions. And let's take a look here at our deliverables, or what we're going to weave this week. So for squares, you will need 4 in the background and 2 in CC3. For the hexagons, you will weave 2 background, 2 CC1, 1 CC2, and 1 CC3. And then on the next page of the worksheet, you will find the, if I can get to it, you'll find the charts, the assembly charts. And for the squares, this is background, CC3, background, background, CC3, background. All right. And then for the hexagons are a little bit more colorful, but no offense to the squares, that's just the way it works out. So we have here for the hexagons, let me slide this up a little bit. We start with CC1, background, CC3, CC2, background, and CC1. All right, and that's all there is to it for this week. When you have your long strip assembled, please take a picture and post it. All right, optionally, this week we will make a rope. Again, it's optional. There is a 3/4 or 75% chance that a rope will come in handy in the end. So that's the clue of the week and nothing more than that. But you don't have to make it now. And maybe you will not need it at all. However, this is a good time to think about it because that rope, if you decide to make it, it should be rather long. The rope should be about 150 inches long, which is about 3.8 meters. So that's quite a bit. What should this rope look like? This rope will be used to tie things. So make it not too thin, too thick. Let me just see what I have here. And I have a few suggestions here on what you can do. I will not give details because I want you to go out and explore. How do you make ropes? A few suggestions, just crochet a chain. All right. So this would be something like this. Again, that goes super fast. And all you need to do is just make chain stitches here. Okay. All right, that goes really fast, and that is a good size. It's very sturdy, or good thickness, and just keep on doing that until you have about 150 inches. All right, or you can make a lucette cord. A lucette, for those who have not seen one, is something like this. I need to zoom out for that one. And you make a cord with it. Okay, just Google it. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. Another very interesting method, but that will probably take much longer, is kumihimo, which is a Japanese cord weaving method. Or you can twist a rope. I'm not sure if when I was a child, we did that just with a doorknob. But there are also really fancy methods available. For example, Schacht has the so-called incredible rope machine that does a fabulous job in making ropes. Or you can come up with your own idea. You know, if you want to inkle weave, which probably takes too long, but it's not impossible. So basically, optional task is just make a rope about 150 inches long. All right. If you are going to do that, oh yeah, color. Any color that goes with your scheme. For example, here we have these colors, and I have enough of my color, so I just pick one color and make a rope with it. Or you could also use a contrast color, for example, a black or something. Anyway, it will be used to tie something. And there's a 75% chance that we will need it. All right. That's it for today. And I'll see you online. If you have any questions, please, please, please ask. Ask in the groups or contact me any way you want. There are no silly questions, because any questions that you are asking, probably other people have too, but not everybody wants to ask. So be brave and ask. It helps everybody. All right. I see you online. Looking forward to seeing your very, very long strips and your ropes. Have a great, great week. Bye.